Alrighty. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural stream for ZA Ball. And I am with my man John Morgan. John, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Good. Just a little under the weather. Weather's changing here. So, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready.
Nah, I feel that, man. I need some gas, bro. It's too cold with the rain plus winter's coming. It's garbage. But anyway, we move. First stream for the channel. Feeling excited about this. I'm so glad that we're not having a stream after a loss. That would have been such a depressing way to get this journey started between us. But let's get right into it, bro. Let's get right into it.
Mm.
Right, we just played Liverpool. We drew the game. Let's talk about the performance. Was it what you expected it to be, or were you a little bit disappointed that we lost points on the day?
Well, I mean, disappointed is definitely it was definitely the feeling after the game. In the way we conceded, it was not unlucky, but really silly. You don't want to say a player is stupid, but it was just rash, man. It was like, that really hurt because I mean, in that moment, Liverpool wasn't really they were attacking us, but they weren't doing much on the ball, right? So
Yeah,
when Aaron Wan-Bissaka goes and he makes that slide tackle, you kind of have to feel for the team because at the end of the day, it's kind of more of a like we did so much to get into the game. We wanted to we were winning. We got back into it. We were terrible first off, although we got back into it. And then we give the ball away, and we not give the ball away, we give a penalty away, and then we concede. So from the performance perspective, um, it was very reminiscent of what we've seen all season, right? But from a in that moment perspective, very disappointing, very disappointing.
no, I hear you, bro. It just kind of feels like same old, same old. We get a lead, and it's kind of sad because if you look at the last three fixtures, yes, maybe we didn't deserve to win against Brentford, but we got the goal. We couldn't keep our heads. We lose the 2 points. We go to Chelsea. We come back. We still lose all 3 points. We go
Mm,
and Liverpool come to our gaff. We score, and then they equalize, and then we lose another 2 points. So if you think about it, this should have been 3 points. But because we can't concentrate in the dying seconds of a game, we kind of lost a lot of points this week. And I think that for me is what the disappointment comes from. Because with the Wednesday or Thursday when we played Chelsea, that was a really great performance from the team, you know.
mm,
Um, but we still lost. So I'm like,
yeah,
we got the performance, but we didn't get any points, which is the one thing we wanted.
exactly, exactly.
And then with Liverpool again, the team shows up, but again, we can't concentrate to save our lives. I mean, what was Wan-Bissaka doing in the box, going for the slide tackle? Look, personally, I don't think it was a penalty,
Yeah, of
but
course not.
I don't think it was a penalty. But you don't give the manager an excuse. I mean, the ref an excuse to go and give them a penalty because I've always said
Exactly.
this: everybody's going to be against us, so we don't need
Yeah,
to be putting any more obstacles.
yeah.
So I think that was the greatest disappointment to say that, especially
And
after
you
the
know,
goals we scored too. I mean,
exactly. And you know, the thing is, with Liverpool and with how the game went, like we were out of the game in the first half. Like we have
yeah,
to acknowledge that we didn't play well. A lot of people will say, yeah, it's a setup. Yeah, Man United was poor. Yeah, this, yeah, that. But the fact of the matter, of the reality of the situation was, when we had the ball, we were sloppy. When we had the ball in key areas, when we gave it away, we give them an opportunity to attack, to counter, to kind of the transition that a lot of the time when we lose the ball, our transition recovery is poor, right? So that in the first half was hurting us, and we were conceding a lot of chances because of it, and we were conceding a lot of shots because of it. Now that's been the kind of the angle that a lot of people has been coming at with regards to shots on goal from a Ten Hag perspective. Ten Hag's not setting us up right enough so that we don't concede as much chances. But the problem is, like I've been saying on multiple channels and multiple streams, that we have a defense that cannot play high. So we can't strangle the team. right? So we're going to kind of be in the situation where we have to have our defenders track uh, backtrack, not backtrack, but backpedal, in a sense
Yeah.
of allowing them to run into our area where we can defend and make the field smaller, right? Then the chance, then what happens is the team gets a chance. The team gets a shot. Most of the time, the shots go over the bar. It goes right side, left side, or the shot is um, or Nana can save the shot. It's not good enough for him to save it. Okay,
Yeah.
so that has been the issue that we've been having. But the problem wasn't that we were playing bad. Oh, the problem wasn't that the setup was bad, in my opinion. The problem was that when we had the ball, we couldn't do anything with the ball. You feel me?
Okay.
And in the second half, we were much better on the ball. When we had the ball, we made it work. Now, if you look at the mistake, what led up to the mistake, now Liverpool came out and they tried to play the same game in the first half, but in a sense of were given a goal, right? And that happens in football. You given a goal, but it's then still an impetus on the team that just equalized to go in and take the game forward, right? And I think we did that very well. Once we got the goal, right, mentality changes, the game shifts. Everybody's now on everybody's now on high. The energy literally goes from 1 to 5 because you get that goal, you get back into the game. You were out of the game. You should have been 3-4 nil down, but you're not. You 1-1, and now all of a sudden you have a chance. Then we work the ball beautifully. We work the ball beautifully from back to front, from my, what's that? From the right, from Aaron Wambasaka, putting
Yes.
the ball over to Dallo. Suspect, but he does it anyway. Dallo runs through, he beats Diaz, he hits the ball into Kobe. Kobe, beautiful turn, puts it out to the wide. Aaron Wambasaka again to Garnacho to Aaron Wambasaka, Kobe, beautiful finish. Beautiful finish. What a finish. And we're back into the game. And we're
Yeah.
back into the game. Another game where we're leading. And now all of a sudden, it's the same old, same old. I don't know if
Last
they lost
minute.
exactly same old.
Last.
Like literally, we conceded a penalty against Chelsea, last minutes in the
The
dying
same
bars
way
of the
too.
game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
John. You know what? I hear you, and I hear your frustration, and I get that you're saying that we were set up to play relatively well, but the same critiques still keep coming up with how we're being set up. We're not set up to either play high or low. So we seem to be having like whatever they classify it as a middle block. I'm not a tactician or a tactical, but that's what it's looking like. We don't know if we're going to press forward or we're going to sit in deep, which is maybe leaving a gap in the center of the pitch. And also we're conceding still a lot of shots on goal. Because if you look at it in the first half, we had no shots to Liverpool's 14. Um, what are you saying about that? Like, what is the manager doing in training that we're still doing this?
I really don't think it's a training issue. You see, I watched the podcast with Steve McLaren, right?
Yeah,
Before Erik Ten Hag came to the club, I watched the podcast. And on that podcast, I think it was with his son. And on the podcast, McLaren was the manager, Ten Hag was the assistant, right? Ten Hag gave him advice and he gave him like sound advice and he was really good. He was really impressed. This is now Steve McLaren was really impressed by Ten Hag. Then I think roles changed or something happened where Ten Hag was now in charge, right? And Steve McLaren was part of his staff. Steve McLaren said, if you play in a Ten Hag team, you must have courage. You can't be scared. You must be of the mindset to be able to play the football that he wants to play because it's high risk, high reward football, right? And to the
yeah,
point where if you do it right, the other team stands no chance. And that's what we saw in the Champions League when Ajax went into when they got knocked out by Tottenham, when they beat Real Madrid, they had this amazing run. And remember those players that they had, right? Tadic, Schoon, all of them weren't amazing players, but Erik Ten Hag made them good. Now we had Frankie de Jong that was very, very good. We had Matthias de Ligt that was very, very good. We had Ziyech that was having a good season. Donny van der Beek was having a good season. So there was multiple players in there. It was a mixture of different players. I say that to make the point that our team lacks the mentality when it comes to playing football the way Ten Hag wants to play football. Right? That's why you will
yeah,
see sometimes we will play well and sometimes we won't play well. Right? Big up Brandon. my family. But sometimes
Yeah.
we'll play well, and sometimes we won't play well. And I think that comes down to the mentality issue. And a lot of the times we notice that when we're under pressure, when it's a setback, all of a sudden the team then goes into a shell and we then concede chances. We're not able to play. The passes go wide. We get sloppy on the ball. We're not picking up the run. We ball watching. So I don't think it's a training issue. I just think this is a transition issue in a sense of the players don't yet know how to fully play the Ten Hag way.
No,
That's
but
my opinion.
John, we're on the last couple of games of the season. How long is it going to take Ted Hog to get these players somehow playing some sort of form of football? We can't keep doing this game after game. I mean, the amount of chances we're conceding is exponentially ridiculous. I get it. I'm not of the opinion that it's just simply the player. It's just simply the players or it's simply the managers. I think those are just two opposite extremes. It has to be somewhere in the middle. Yes, the players aren't showing up. The lapse of concentration is showing on the pitch, but also sometimes with Ten Hag, he should know these players by now. He's been here for 18 months, going on 2 years. He should know their strengths and weaknesses, and he should be doing the best that he can to try and hide some of these weaknesses, because there is no such thing as a perfect team, right? Can we agree on that? No team is perfect, but the best managers know how to set up their teams in such a way that those deficiencies are minimized, not hidden completely, but they're minimized. But we've been seeing the same
Mm.
fragilities. Is it the injuries? Because that's what other fans are saying. But we also have to attribute some of the blame to Ten Hag to say, dude, what went wrong this season? Why couldn't you adapt to our unfortunate circumstances? You get me? That's just how I'm looking at it.
Mm. No, no, I hear that. I hear that. And the thing is, though, right? We constantly, for me, Vegeta, right? We have to look at the injuries, right? We look at the injuries and we say, okay, Ten Hag speaks about routines, right? So last season we were successful because we had majority of our players in the backline fit. We could play our backline for a lot of the season, right? So we had 27 partnerships in the backline this season. That is crazy. You can agree that is not normal. You can't expect a team to play well, to play on the front foot, because remember, you must play. You must to play good football. You must have a solid base, and our base has never been solid this season. Right? So you have to concede injuries. Right? I will concede that at times he hasn't made the right decision. Okay, in certain areas, he's trusted players, and the players hasn't delivered for him. And that's the honest um the honesty, right? But
Yeah.
I see fully, I know him as well. He says I think Ten Hag needs to involve Diallo more. Ten Hag needs to have a plan B Sunday against Liverpool proved that he does not have one by bringing on Amrabat and wanting to defend the lead. Exactly. Now that is the problem, Fully. All right. The problem at the moment is that he's asked to have a plan B. All right. So you want him to have a plan B. But if you look at the bench, you have Amrabat that can't turn. All right, it's like Amrabat is like a bus trying to parallel park.
No, but
It's gonna take forever.
nah, John. But we've got Harry Maguire in defense. Surely Ten Hag can do something with Emrabat. It's not like Emrabat is a trash player. He can do something.
Oh, brother, how many
Surely.
times did Amrabat come on the field? Right, I don't trust him. Right, I thought he's gonna be good, and maybe it's me because of expectation. But how many times did Amrabat come on the pitch and he's made a mistake, or he hasn't influenced or added value to the game? That's the problem I have, right? And now when it comes to Diallo, like Diallo's a young player, but who are you gonna bench? Are you gonna Anthony's playing well. He played well against Chelsea. I feel like he was hard done by to sit on the bench against Liverpool, but it is Rashford, and he kind of gets it with him being from Manchester, so you kind of understand it. So who's Diallo gonna come on for? Is he
Well,
gonna does he
well,
have to bench Garnacho? I don't think
well,
so. You're
well,
never gonna bench Garnacho.
well, don't play
So
Rashford, in my opinion, because as much as Rashford is from Manchester and he might get it, at the moment he's playing like he doesn't get it. With all due respect, maybe he needs some time up in the box to watch the game from up there rather than down here, because he doesn't seem to be here with us. So maybe give Diallo his spot and let him get a run of games in these last few games, and let's see what he can do. Surely.
I hear that. But for me, like based on my experience, like in locally, right? The principle is the principle. You young players, you can't really, like, for example, Kobe, right? Kobe's been fantastic, right? Kobe's been fantastic, but he's made a couple mistakes. He hasn't played well in some games. He has quality. Don't get me wrong, he has quality. But when it comes to some moments, there's sometimes where he doesn't know if he must stick or if he must twist. But that all comes down to experience. Now, I think with young players, you have to allow them that, all right? And in at this point at this time of the season, we can't be carrying players and allowing them to grow into a game. We need them to come in and we need them to perform. Now, as much as we don't think Rashford has been doing well, he's been scoring goals when he's been playing bad, and at times he will come up with a goal here and there, and that's been his game. That's been his season. All right, he hasn't been doing it enough. I agree, but you can trust him to score a worldie. You can trust him to score a goal. If he's going to get a chance, he's going to make the keeper work. If not, beat the keeper.
Nah, John, I don't trust Rashford at the moment. I just feel like he's more interested with giving us press conferences on Twitter than he is playing football. That's my only issue with Rashford. No, now we've got his brother speaking out as well. What's going on? Does he have a Twitter committee at home or what's going on? He needs to get off social media and maybe focus on the football.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think he hasn't dealt with social media well, from my perspective. Like the
Not
people
at all.
around him, like they spoke. I know Rio was on the overlap, and I watched that, and they were actually speaking facts, like, based on their own experience, what they think about the Rashford situation from a bird's eye perspective, or from someone that's not in the situation, of
Yeah.
what he might be going through, and he didn't like that. So what are you saying? Like, bro, you playing for the biggest club in the world. You are literally the highest paid player at the club, or arguably the highest paid player. You are our talisman. We look to you because you're the one that scored us 30 goals last season. Sorry. So people's gonna speak about you. Get that into your head. Allow it to happen, even if it's your people you know. They're gonna speak about you. So let it happen. And then do your thing, bro. Literally do your thing. Get your girlfriend involved. Get your mother involved. Sit around those people. Have conversations. Talk to them. Get a therapist involved. Have your social media inside. Let nobody see what you're going through, and then just deliver on the pitch. Social media is gonna be there, right? Don't have to clap back at everything. You don't have to clap back at everything, honestly. So I don't think he's been dealing with social media well.
Yeah, no, I don't think he has at all. But let's maybe move the conversation on a bit. In light of everything we've said now, John. Clearly you still believe in the manager. Um, we still have a couple of games left. Do you still see us getting into Europe, let alone the Champions League at all?
Right. So let me give you a scenario. Because I want that.
I
I
don't
want
like when you get this excited, John. You're gonna say some foolishness right now, aren't you?
that. Okay, right. So we are 9 points behind fifth, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me say 9 points behind Tottenham, which we play the same amount of games, right? Tottenham's next four fixtures. Okay. The next four fixtures is
Yeah.
Newcastle, is Arsenal, is Chelsea, and Liverpool, with the City game postponed. Right? I don't see
Okay.
them winning any of those games. All right.
Wow. All of them.
I don't, do you see Tottenham winning uh Arsenal?
Uh, where are they playing? Are they playing at the Emirates? Because if they're playing
So
at
okay,
the Spurs Stadium,
okay.
they
Let me
could
let
win
me let me give it let me give it to you properly. So they're playing Arsenal. I'm sorry, they're playing Newcastle away. All right. Arsenal.
that.
Newcastle away. That's tough. St James's rocking
They, they could take a draw.
Magpies.
They could take a draw. They
No,
could take a draw. Like Newcastle are not exactly firing themselves. They've
no,
got
I
literally the same
agree.
form as Spurs.
No, but the thing is, Tottenham is not good though. Tottenham is not good. Anyway, right? Let's look
Yeah.
at it right. So we have
Okay.
Newcastle. They have Newcastle away. All right.
Okay.
Arsenal is playing scintillating football. All right. And I don't know when last Tottenham got the result against the Arsenal in the North London derby. Right? Because it's been peak for Tottenham in the last couple of years. So I'm expecting Arsenal to have the flow with him. You would expect Arsenal to based on how they're playing, because of the type of game it is, and because Tottenham is Tottenham. I don't see them picking up points there. Then they play Chelsea. All right. Now They never ever picked up anything at Chelsea. Like I know, regardless of how they play, they always seem to lose or draw at Chelsea, and that's away, right? Chelsea away. Then they go
But
to
shit,
Anfield.
uh,
You see, Anfield. Then they must still play City.
you know what? But John, this is football, though. You know the way I see it. I think they'll get points from Newcastle, either all 3 points, or 2 points, because Newcastle themselves aren't doing too great. And then I think maybe the Arsenal game. Well, it's at the Spurs Stadium, so I'm not gonna completely write them off because, as you've seen, even with United, we were supposed to get battered in all four fixtures with Liverpool. They walked away with no W's, by the way.
But
Klopp,
there's
no
heritage though.
W's.
But you see, heritage is heritage, bro. Heritage. One thing about heritage, right? Football heritage. When it comes to heritage, a lot of teams, like especially that's the thing with us, right? We've done well against the big six in some games. Like against, if I look back at it, Spurs when we lost the 2-0, we were supposed to have a penalty, set back, team crumbles, we lose. Right? We were
Yeah,
supposed to have two penalties in that Spurs game. Arsenal, Garnacho through one goal. We get called offside. Rasmus Højlund gets pulled down in the box. No penalty, no referee decision. We lose that game 3-1 in the dying minutes of the game. Right? Then we have City. City, okay, that was a soft foul on Rashford, but it was a foul nonetheless. They go into the other end, they score. All right? For Foden. We in that game we played low block football, but we had a lead and we held on to the lead for 70 minutes. Problem was the ref didn't give us anything. Then against Chelsea, we should have won that game. No, but they're not in the top six.
mm,
Against Spurs, we drew 2-2. We should have won that game. We played good enough to win that game. So for me, against the big teams this season, and I mean we picked up more points than Liverpool against the big six this season. All right, think about that. And Liverpool's in the title race. So that tells me that we played well against these big teams. Okay, so now I look at it from the way we go into the next 7 fixtures. Yeah, seven
yeah.
seven fixtures. We don't do well with expectation. So saying that Spurs can lose 5 games doesn't really matter because we need to win. So I think if we win, we can play Champions League. If we lose, we have no chance of playing Champions League. I think even though the point system says that it's not in our hands, we need other teams to do us favors. I think still, if we win our games, we will get into the Champions League. If we lose or draw our games, we won't get into the Champions League because I don't see Spurs winning or I don't see Spurs picking up more than 3 points in that 5 fixtures. I don't see Spurs picking up more than 3 points in that 5 fixtures.
No, John, you've got more faith than me because these teams are sitting on 60 points. We're on 49, and we're still getting Champions League. I'm already practicing the UV's Europa League song. Europa League, because that's what it sounds like it's going to be next season. Which, you
Mm.
know what, maybe we deserve, because with the way we played in the Champions League this year, that was just embarrassing. I don't know, outside of maybe the monetary value of being in the Champions League, I don't know if I want to be there, bro. But we'll see, man. Like I said, I'm a United fan. I'm still gonna want my team to do well. I'm still gonna try and believe, as Robbie says, until the end of the season. But it's not looking good for Ten Hag. And with that, man, what do you think about some of the key performances in the game? Like we mentioned, the two goals earlier from Bruno and Kobe.
Mm.
Kobe's goal has to be goal of the month. I don't see anybody scoring a better goal this month, to be honest.
Yeah. Yo, it will be two. It will be two goal of the month this season. That's crazy though. Two goal
Yeah,
of the
no,
month. Nah,
he's
you
having a
can't.
he's having a great season. I think Gareth has to take him to the Euros, man.
Nah, Kobe can't. Gareth Southgate is a fraud. Like that is a fraud, bro. Like if Henderson was fit, he wouldn't have taken Kobe to the friendlies, honestly, and he wouldn't have got the man of the match because Kobe got man of the match in that game. Gareth Southgate is a fraud. Anyway, shouldn't say that, but yeah, he is. Um,
Jeez. He supports South
um,
Africa, John. I just want to remind you.
So from key performances, I think we spoke about Kobe.
Yes.
For Bruno, a lot of people don't think Bruno had a good game. My perspective is nobody nobody takes that in our team. Nobody scores that goal that he scored on the weekend. Nobody has the tick, not just the tick, the mentality to do that. Like to hit the ball from there. Some people want to run the ball into the net. Some people want to do other things, make a pass, whatever. To hit it first time clean with a tick, put it in the net. Nah, quality. He didn't set the world alight from my perspective. But at the same time, he hasn't been having a good season. But I think he has been adding a lot of value to the team. The intangible value, the value of always running, the value of making sure that.
Come on, John. Surely running is a bare minimum for a
But
sport like football.
I agree,
Surely.
but we don't do it. It's a bare minimum, but we don't do it.
Oh, man, we are in the guts. We're in the gutters then if that's what we're praising at United now is
But
players
anyway,
running.
uh, but then looking at other key performances, Wally Kambwala, quality,
Yes.
another Ten Hag youth product, and I think that speaks into why we need to keep the manager, all right? Because I
Yeah.
think with everything that has gone wrong this season, we look at the shining light of Kobe, we look at the shining light of Garnacho, we look at the shining light of Wally Kambwala, we look at the shining light of Rasmus Hoyland. Not had a good season, not had an easy season, but brought him in and he has worked his socks off for this team, and I think that's a quality signing. Then we look at Talo has really improved his game, literally the player of the season for our club. All right, so
Uh,
these are all young players. Okay, yeah, Talo's now 25. So, but besides now Talo, these are all young players. Willie Camboala, Cornecho. Okay, Cornecho is not really from the academy, but he's kind of is. And then Kobe from the academy. Also, Willie's not really from the academy, but he is. Because they signed these players while in the youth and they brought him into the academy.
yes.
So academy products nonetheless. And wow, we haven't seen this before. The last academy project that we had was Amazing Greenwood, and before that it was Garnacho. That from the top of my head, that's the only ones that we can think of that actually came and did well. I mean, before that we had Jesse Lingard, and Jesse Lingard had to go on loan, even though he was 27. He had to go on loan, which was nuts. So for me, Wally Kambwala, wow. I think when I saw he made a mistake in that game, right?
Uh-huh.
And Darwin Nunes was running through, and his recovery, and to put the tackle in the bottle, to put the tackle in the box, and to get the ball. I thought that was quality from a mental perspective, and from a I want to be here and I want to play in this team and I want to do well. From that perspective, we all make mistakes, but it's
Yes.
important for you, obviously, to really, if you lost a 50-50 duel, fine, just get back and make something happen and do something so that they don't get through on goal or they don't score or do something, right? And I think he did that well. And then from that moment, I think he's on the ball. Now, I don't think on the ball he's not really fantastic. I think he needs to work on it a lot. But pace, recovery, tackles, reading the game. And there was one time where he ran out of position to make an interception. It didn't really work out in our favor because the ball went to another Liverpool player, but he snuffed out the danger. Quality, very very good, and all of a sudden that attacking angle was nullified. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, I think it was fantastic. Um, Darwin Nunes couldn't bully him because you can't bully Maguire. That's the beautiful part about Maguire is that you can't bully him. He's a rock. Some will say he's a fridge, but he's so strong. He don't have pace, but he is strong, bro. Like literally, he pushes people off the ball. Fairly, which is crazy. Fairly, he will push people off the ball, so you won't be able to bully him. So it's very, very it would be like it will be a no-brainer to go on and sit on Willie and sit on him and be like, um, try and bully him off the ball. And to have that bottle against Liverpool in a stadium filled with fans that don't know which way they're going, I think that was fantastic. Big up Kenny Fan TV, my G.
Yeah, what's up, Kenny, bro? Thank you, man.
Kenny
Drop a
Fan
like,
TV, bro.
share, bro, subscribe. We're starting our own thing, bringing South African voices, to the YouTube channel game because you know what, South Africa's got a huge United following, and I think it's about time we started getting our own voices down south. So yeah, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, no, Kambawala had a very, very good game. I just like the kid's attitude on the pitch. He didn't have he wasn't overwhelmed by the occasion. The fact that we're playing Liverpool, I liked the fact that he was beating his chest and telling Liverpool fans to calm down. That's great. I like that arrogance. You know, he kind of reminded me of Licha a little bit. You know, I was thinking, are we getting the high
Mm.
fives back? You know, is he gonna deputize for Licha and give us the high fives? I miss those high fives, bro. I miss Licha. I hope we can get a better medical
Yo.
department that can sort that out for us. You know, so that we can get who I deem as our true captain without the armband on the pitch. You know, is Licha. We need that man back.
You know
Um,
what is crazy, Vegeta?
yeah, yeah,
Ten Hag literally said in a press conference, he spelled it out. He said, I asked the team in December. They assured me I will have two left backs by January. And we sent him back. We said Regulon back. He literally threw the team under the bus. And then Casemiro got hurt. They didn't find anything. He had to go to a separate person to find out what was wrong, and he was injured. Our
yes.
team is a bunch of saboteurs, bro. Sabotagers.
Yeah, they need to get that Arsenal guy out of our team, bro. That guy was sent in here to be an op. What's wrong with us getting the head of Arsenal's medical staff? As if Arsenal haven't been suffering from like injuries for the last who knows how long. Man, who does the flipping hiring at United? It's scary sometimes. But let's come back home. Let's talk about our own manager, John. You know, like I said, a lot of criticism. We've talked about the performance. He's still backing Ten Hag.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I mentioned it now briefly about the young players that he brought through, right? We, I don't think a lot of people are realizing that FFP is really killing a lot of teams. Um, from the perspective of people are now afraid to do what they usually do by splashing 100 million, splashing 80 million, like literally buying 200 million players and then more players. So spending about 300, 400 million in the transfer window. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea was the only team to do that, and you're not having much teams do that anymore. I look at Liverpool. Liverpool had made a couple signings. Most of their signings was, I think, Sabozlai was, I think, between 40 and 50 million. And then McAllister was 34. Endo was a good price. So they bought smart, all right? Then they wanted to sign Lavia or Caicedo, and then they couldn't, right? They didn't. They not they couldn't. They said no, all right? So
Yeah,
we look at other teams and we look at City. City signings this season was poor with regards to Vardiol and Mateus Nunes. And I think all of it speaks not just to poor recruitment, but what you can get for the amount of money that you are able to give. Now, in January, we were told we can't get a striker. Even though Martial's injured, we can't get a striker, not even on loan because of FFP, right?
mm,
Or not
mm,
even a cheap striker because of FFP. Now, for me, looking at the season going forward, who can we sign in the summer? How much money can we spend? Because remember, a lot of people don't want to buy your Harry Maguires, your Scott McTominays, your Anthony Martials. All of these fringe players, Donny van de Beeks. A lot of them don't want to be bought. A lot of them, these players, are not valuable enough for them to say, okay, here's 40 million, here's 50 million, we want your player. Because that's the type of player that they are. So now we sit with a situation with, I don't think we're going to sign, I don't think there's going to be a lot of players that we're going to sell. I think there's going to be a lot of outgoings, but the outgoings is going to be based on contracts ending, and loans coming to an end, and loans just being what you call that, extended.
yeah.
But I don't think we're going to sell much players. So, but if you can't sell players, how are you going to buy players? And that's the issue. So people saying they want a new manager, I ask, who do you then want? Who do you then want? Because at the end of the day, if you want a new manager, we have to bring in a manager that's going to get these players that cannot be sold, as well as the players that Ten Hag bought to play the same style in the same way the new manager wants. And for me, that is too far of a jump. So I say, keep the manager, allow the continuity to take place, the process of him imprinting his style, and make sure that he gets the best tools to go into next season with. Because we didn't, bro, we wanted King Min Jae. We got Johnny Evans.
No,
Johnny
Johnny's been
Evans, bro.
okay. Johnny's performed. He's just been injury prone.
I agree, but when it comes to Johnny Evans, the issue is he can't play the way the manager wants to play. He can't play a high line because you don't have recovery pace.
But he's an intelligent enough player to not get himself put into awkward positions. But I hear what you're saying, John. So if you're gonna keep him, how long are you keeping him? Is it gonna be for the 1 year? Because the other problem that we're facing is that if we're keeping Ten Hag, why not extend his contract just so that he knows where he stands with the club, and so that
Yeah,
he can continue just focusing on his job. Maybe looking at readjusting his role as just being a head coach, because we've got now the structure that's coming in. Maybe they can take on some of the responsibilities he might have taken on because of we had John, what is his name, Murto and
Mota, yeah.
Richard, those guys.
Arnold.
He might have,
Mm.
Ten Hag might have felt like he needs to take on more because he doesn't trust those guys. He had somebody like Ralph, but he didn't want to work with Ralph. Apparently, I don't know how true that is.
Yep,
But now,
that's yep.
I'm just putting out there what is the truth. We're not in the boardrooms, so we're gonna have to take all of these things with the
Speculation.
pin, with the pinch of salt. So
Uh,
now with all of these people coming in, your Dan Edwards, your Walcock or Wilcock, or however you say my man's name,
Wilcox, yeah.
these. The nice thing about these guys is when you look at the people they've signed, it's not really expensive players, but they've delivered for these teams. Yes, it's not the same caliber like United, it's not the same level, but if these guys can do the same thing for United, finding those gems, we could still spend enough to do some sort of a rebuild in the summer. Because I've always said to people, I think we've got such a high expectation for this coming window, forgetting that these people still need to come in, form a strategize a plan, fix a lot of the other structures like the recruitment, the scouting, medical to a certain degree. So it's not going to happen overnight. We might not get the 10 players that maybe Ralph Ragnick spoke about when he spoke about open heart surgery.
Open heart
So some
surgery.
yeah, so a lot of these players are still going to be here. So I think that's why a lot of people go to the manager, because maybe that's the easier thing to change. But I'm of the opinion that if you're going to change Ten Hag, because I'm at a point where Ineos can do whatever they want. I'm not
Mm.
going to be sad if they don't get rid of Ten Hag, but I'm not going to be angry if they keep him. Because I do believe that he does need better tools. Yes, 100%.
Mm.
But also these performances have been very, very shaky. If you had to ask me who should they get, again, if we're going to look at our history, to not repeat the sins of the past, stop getting managers that don't play the same football. That's why I think Omar is going to be such a key figure, because he has to come in and say, what are we doing? But how are we playing? Because how we appoint managers and pick players should be based on that. It should be, this is Man United's ethos. This is what we want to give the fans to get the best results. That's what it seemed like they were doing in City when I look at the All or Nothing stuff and that other documentary they have on the City's YouTube channel. They strategize
Mm.
to say that this is how we want to play football. We're going to bring in Pep Guardiola because he specializes in this football, and we're going to give him players for his system. And if you know, like that's all it is. It's system players. That's why he can maybe sometimes take players that we don't know of and turn them into superstars. It's his system. So if we're gonna get a new manager, I say for continuity's sake, get somebody like a Hansi Flick or Nagelsmann, because they almost come from the same school of thought. Not the same, but similar school of thought. Don't go all the way in the opposite direction, like some people have been trying to do with De Zerbi, by the way, who lost again this week. I mean, what do we want? We just want to be conceding goals just so we can have vibes football. Do we want?
Nah,
Do
that's
we
that's
want?
the worst, bro. And the thing is, like Vegeta, like we're not. For me, getting a new manager, it's like how do I say this? Changing the icing, but the cake is still fruit. The cake is fraught, bro. Like honestly, like the middle is it's rotten. We have players that's been here forever, and they have consistently been inconsistent. We have players in our team that come in one game, do well, the next game does bad. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for example. Aaron
Uh,
Wan-Bissaka against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Wow, my brother, hand claps for you. Second off, against Brentford, hi, poor brother, poor, like literally poor. So what do now we spoke about Aaron Wan-Bissaka a lot in the negative, but that's the not to single him out, but that's the general issue with a lot of the players that we have. A lot of the players that we have has always been here and has always been inconsistent. And on top of that, We've never ever had a manager that can instill consistency, and on top of that, we've always changed the managers. So the club has never been in a consistent state. So that is the problem that I have at the moment with changing the manager. Changing the manager means that we are now going to say, okay, this is the issue. We are not consistent, so we are now going to be inconsistent because we said that we're gonna give this guy time. 18 months. Okay, it's now probably 20 months now. 20 months later, or 18 months, that's when Ten Hag out started. 18 months. No, no, no. Chop this up. I'm not seeing enough. Bro, what do you want to see though? What do you want to see? Like chop this up in what? So like for me, changing the manager will just be changing the icing on the cake. Right? The icing on the cake is what makes the cake liquor. The icing on the cake is what makes the cake nice. The icing on the cake is what draws and attracts the people to the cake. But now as party, you have a nice icing, but when you put your mouth through the cake tastes like you know what I mean. So that's
Doo
the
doo.
issue that I have. Yeah, that's the issue that I have about changing the manager. So from that side of it, leave the manager. The manager's fine. Let these you see, and you know what is lovely, eh? What is lovely?
Mm,
The way we signed Wilcox, the way we
yeah,
signed Omar,
yeah,
and a little bit in the way we signed Dan Ashworth. Dan Ashworth would have been here already if it wasn't for Newcastle. Omar Barada would have been here. Omar Barada's coming. All right, it's done. It's done.
yeah, yeah.
Wilcox is done. Nobody knew about these appointments. As much as everybody wanted to have speculation, with Man United, everything is news. If Onana drop his keys, that is news. I don't know if you saw that. So everything is news. So you telling me a new CEO is walking through the door and you weren't able to get the information, or you weren't able to speak to anybody that can give you the information to tell you that there's a new CEO starting, because
Yeah,
that's what happens.
yeah, that was by design. I don't think. I think United want to change, or the new guys want to change the culture because we've been leagues FC for the longest time. With
Yeah,
players. I mean, we shouldn't be hearing that players are upset with training. That's ridiculous. So I think they're trying to change the narrative with controlling who gets access to the information. Because if you look at it, the Athletic has been their primary people to drop United news. It's almost it feels like outside. I think
scripted.
of is it Laurie Whitwell who does
Yeah, yeah,
United's
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I think outside of Laurie, it seems like the Athletic is the only other news platform that gets the news first, but they get it like right when it's done. So they're not even getting it when it's being, United, we haven't even approached anybody. And you hear United is linked to so and so, but it almost
Exactly.
feels like now they're speaking to people, they're discussing the finer details, and just when it's about to be dropped by the club, when you're gonna get a club statement, then your
Brief,
Laurie
yeah.
Whitwells and your athletic journalists will come through and say United has done this, and then a few minutes or an hour later, we'll get the official thing from United. So it almost feels like it's not just the on pitch stuff they're trying to change, it's also how we move behind the scenes, which is why I know people are already feeling like, oh, we can't trust Ineos. But these sort of moves make me kind of feel like this is good because we are
Mm,
clearly trying to move differently. And if this is how we move now, I hope we do the same thing in the summer in the sense that maybe we're speaking to people right now, even though we don't know. We're speaking to agents, we're speaking to clubs, and hopefully once the window opens, we don't see United is linked to Frankie de Jong for the whole window. We see United is linked to Frankie. United has signed Frankie. Frankie has had medical. Frankie's a United player. That's what I'm kind of hoping we'll start seeing.
yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
That's what I want to see in the summer. I don't necessarily want to see the influx of players, even though we do need them. For me to believe that things are changing, I just need to see, like what you're saying with the Omar brothers, how we sign people or bring people into the club has to fundamentally change because we
Mm,
can't have a situation again where we have the same squad going to the US and then the new guys only join when the season starts. No, that's counterproductive. We need to be
yeah.
getting rid of a lot of these guys. And I think we're in a weird situation in the sense that a lot of people's contracts are coming to an end. So we're going to lose people for free, and
Mm,
then we're gonna also have to try and sell people, like you're saying. And in hindsight, we kind of look stupid now, refusing that 30 million for 60 million now, essentially for Scott McTominay and Maguire, because that would have gone a long way. With Scott being an academy player, he that would have been pure profit for
mm,
FFP. Maguire, like you're saying, is going to be hard to ship because of his wages. So the fact that West Ham was willing to try and sort of do a deal, in hindsight, it looks like maybe we fumbled there. But you know what, Maguire has played well enough this season that I believe there will be some suitors. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of
like
how do we get him
yeah,
out.
yeah, and I think it's important for us to not be silly about our business. And I think the reason I think it's a good thing that we didn't fall to Maguire standards because I think Maguire was going for 30 million. Yeah, I agree with you, Kenny. I agree with you 100%. It's more. I think it's more important than the signings that we make, the outgoings, because the outgoings will allow us to sign players. But what I was saying was, we can't be silly with selling our players because we need replacements, and that's the reason why we need to sell because we need replacements. We can't like we need two centre backs, literally. Okay, with Willie Kwambala and his performance at the weekend, I'm a bit more confident now because if we can have if he's of the same if he's going to go on the same trajectory as Garnacho and as Kobe, then we don't need two centre backs. We just need one. All right, because he can come in and fill that role and play alongside Martinez. Now you just need a replacement for Martinez. And if Maguire's in the stay, Maguire can stay. Then you can let Lindelof go, and Johnny Evans is probably going to go. Varane is also probably going to go. So that is the issue. Then we need two left backs. All right, we need two left backs. Luke Shaw has been injured now for 10 years of his United career. He's been injured, so we need to sort out that left back situation. All right, so we have a lot of issues in the squad from a playing staff perspective that we need to address. And if we don't address it, we go regardless of who the manager is, regardless of who the owner is, regardless of whatever's gonna happen, dressing room leaks, whatever. If the play squad is lopsided and is not constructed correctly, you can forget. You can get Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, who Sir Alex Ferguson can come back, brother. We're gonna have the same issues because the players is the when you need to. The structure of the squad is important. So yeah. Finally, like, what do you want to see like in the next couple of games?
Win by all means necessary. I don't really care about style of play right now. Just get the job done, get over the line. I think we can't afford any more draws because that's too many points. Like I said, we didn't necessarily. We only lost what 2 games this last, but we could have had 9 points if not for our
Mm,
own foolishness. So I want to see us doing whatever it takes to win. So yeah, I don't care. People are gonna say, "Oh, we're still playing garbage," but if I see 3 points, I couldn't care less. So that's what, and I hope we get into the final. I hope we don't embarrass ourselves because fortune has been smiling on us by giving us Coventry. With all due respect to them, they are just Coventry. So
yeah,
fortune has smiled on us in that sense. So I just pray that the boys take that game seriously and Ten Hag can walk away with another trophy this season. Because if he can do that, that's 2 seasons now when he's come through. Gave us trophies because remember with Oli, yes, we had good finishes, but he had no trophies. So this would
no
be
trophies. Yeah.
positive for Ten Hag. And I know a lot
Mm,
of the times we downplay the domestic trophies, but when you're playing as bad as we have been, we kind of can't be picky about what we can win and can't win. And it also helps to build that mentality to say this is what we're here to do is to lift stuff. Because like you said, football heritage. You look at clubs like Spurs for all the good playing they have, because they don't have that winning that winning culture or that trophy culture, they almost seem
mm,
to like crumble when it's time to try and lift a trophy. So it's always good to lift something up at the end of the season.
yeah.
Yeah, John, let's quickly review the fixtures for today, the fixtures for this weekend, and then we'll also look at the Champions League games that are coming up. Yes, the Champions League football is back, people. But the other results from the weekend: Crystal Park lost 2-4
Crystal Palace.
against
Mm.
Manchester City, and Arsenal obviously won their game against Brighton.
Oh,
Who do you think
demolition
is
job.
who do you think is going to win the title? I mean, Liverpool dropped points out of those three. The other two picked up points.
Um, Honestly, because of heritage, Arsenal drop points against United again. They to the point where I think they lose, but Arsenal are in scintillating form. Oh my days! Literally, when I look at that Brighton game, right? Brighton, Brighton type of football Brighton plays.
Yeah,
And the type of football that they play, it's very it's kind of it's of high value and it's very effective. So for Arsenal, it didn't really matter like who was on the who were they playing against, what the players that they were playing against, the positions that they found themselves in. They were literally just devastating. Like give them a chance, they're going to score. So yeah, I think credit to Arteta, but I don't think that they're gonna win the league. I think City will take the league. I do see another slip up in Liverpool. To be fair, seeing that I think they're playing Villa, uh, but Liverpool's fixtures is favourable, is more favourable than Arsenal and than City. So you would say Liverpool, right?
Mm.
But if they slip up again, so no chance that City slipping up again. No chance. Right? I have more confidence in Madrid beating. Um, I have more confidence in Madrid beating City than City slipping up again in the league because City. This is what City does. Man. City gets into this position and they just win. And now you have the other teams that have to deal with the pressure of knowing that this team is not going to lose. So yeah, I think City takes this one. City takes this league, because I think Arsenal comes to Old Trafford and it's a big game, literally big game, pressure moments, and we spoil parties, bro. We spoil parties.
I sure hope so, John. And then quickly going through the other fixtures, we don't have to spend some time on them. Spurs obviously won their game, which affects our race for Champions League positions 3-1 to
Mm,
Forest. Aston Villa yet again dropped points. I knew that. I think Aston Villa's bums are going to go, personally. I don't think they're
yeah,
built for this pressure when you have to deliver in the last few couple of games. And then obviously Chelsea did what Chelsea do. They dropped points against lost bottom of the table Sheffield United, which actually makes the loss against them so much worse for me. Chelsea are not good. But anyway, we move, man. It is what it is. Champions League football today. We've got Arsenal playing Bayern. Who do you back to win that, man?
football heritage again, bro. I think I've been saying. I think I must get a 10 rand every time I say football heritage. But yeah, I think Bayern they're having a bad season, and if you look at it based on performances, um, you would say Arsenal. But Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich, you know. So who's it on?
Arsenal's at home,
Arsenal.
so
You're at the Emirates.
they playing with Emirates. Yeah.
But Harry Kane, Musiala, and Fonzo Davies, Leroy Sane. Is Sane fit? Yeah, Sane. I mean, you never know. Like, you never. It's a sticky one still because you like I said, you respect Arsenal because of the type of football that they play, and the fact that we watch them every week. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking, Bayern, you can never cut them, you can never doubt them. So yeah, I'm gonna say Bayern 2-1, 2-1
2-1,
lead.
Brian. I'm hoping for a vintage Bayern performance. It's just hope. I'm hoping for like a 3-1 because I
Yep,
don't think
that would be
they
lovely.
can they can keep out Arsenal indefinitely. But the Champions League is a different beast altogether, and we've seen it in the
Mm.
past where even City have struggled, despite being one of the best teams in the Premier League. So I hope, I really hope, because I hate Arsenal, that we will see vintage Bayern showing up to do what they always do against Arsenal, and then we've got the royal white of Real Madrid against the shark blues of Manchester City. How do you see this one going? Is that the Bernabeu, John?
Oh, nah, Bellingham must stand up. Bellingham, rise, please rise and take your rightful place as the king of Europe, please. We need you at this moment, at this time. We come together as fans from all over the globe. Fans that know that Manchester City has frauded their way through to titles, to trebles. So we need you, my son. Rise.
Is this
Bellingham,
your version of Robbie's speech to believe?
I believe. Nah, but I think,
Yeah,
yeah, if I do see, I think Madrid has good enough players to go toe to toe with City and to win them. At the Bernabeu, mm, yeah, I think they can win. But City though, City's good though. City's good.
you know what? Carlo Ancelotti and this team have, like you've been saying throughout the stream. I think the stream is going to be renamed to heritage, football heritage, because I think that's what's gonna be on display for today. You know, Real
Mm,
Madrid's got is building a super team. I don't. They've been doing it quietly in the background, and I don't think people have been taking notice. You know, and if
yeah.
these guys can add Mbappe to this, that's it's ridiculous. But I'm gonna go with the 2-1 win. I don't think it'll be a goal thriller because both of them are good teams. They're not gonna wanna let in too many chances. But I do think at the Bernabeu, with all of those Madrid fans with their white handkerchiefs, those guys are winning. There's not a chance.
Mm.
And then yeah, looking forward to our next fixture, John. I think we're playing
Bournemouth
uh,
Saturday.
Bournemouth, yeah, away from home. They came to
Oh,
our home and they embarrassed us. So I think we need to return the favor, man. I don't think
mm,
anything less than 3 points is acceptable against Bournemouth. They came to Old
yeah.
Trafford and gave us three. How are you feeling about that
Mm.
fixture?
So for me, like Kenny Fantasy is going for 3-2 Madrid thriller. I think
Jeez,
Brandon is
that's gonna
laughing
be
for
a
my
good game.
Brandon is laughing for my inspirational speeches. But Bournemouth. Before we go to Bournemouth, I just want to let you know, Vegeta,
Yeah, yeah.
if United wins the FA Cup and City wins the league, right? Madrid
Yes.
wins the Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen wins the Europa League, and
Uh,
Liverpool and Arsenal win nothing.
oh.
Oh, fam,
So, so what are you saying? Klopp is signing out of his legacy with just a Carabao Cup. I think.
Carabao, Carabao in
I think.
third.
Uh, that's gonna
Carabao
be.
in third,
Uh,
bro. If Klopp
I
gets
need it.
Carabao in third.
I need it. I need it.
My manager, you want to talk about my manager? Look at yourself, Baba. What did they say? Kijk naar yourself, Baba. Yeah, look at yourself. Look at yourself and your own issues. Because if you come third, listen here, Liverpool, I'm looking into the camera now. If you come third with a Carabao Cup, block,
And celebrate
block
because
me.
apparently we couldn't celebrate that last year. If you guys celebrate, oh,
Bro, they literally did. They won the Champions League when they won the effect when they won the Carabao. It was the Champions League final. Players running into the pitch. Ah, no, bro. Hey, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Liverpool come third with the Carabao Cup and to trophy tour for the manager that's leaving. Oh, glorious scenes, glorious scenes. But coming to Bournemouth,
yeah, yeah.
um, ooh, tricky one. It's expectation, man. For me, it's expectation. When it comes to expectation and this players, it's like, damn, oof, what, what can we expect? But so, like, we have an expectation of them, but
Yeah.
they don't want. They find it difficult to have an expectation. So like when it comes to being expected to win, that's when we struggle most times. I do think that like the season has been a very inconsistent one, but we do score a lot of goals. Even though we concede a lot of chances, we do score a lot of goals. And since the turn of the year, we haven't not scored. Even when we played poor against Brentford, we scored. All right.
Mm.
So I expect us to score, and if we can keep a clean sheet, I see us winning 2-0, 2-0 easy. Oh, get the early goal. And then I see Kenny saying no expectations. But get get an early goal and then allow Bono to come and to try and take risks and immediately hit him on the break. I think that's how the game should go.
Okay. Well, from my side, like I said, I just want to win by all means necessary. But with the fact that we've been conceding so many chances, I think we'll concede at least one goal. Probably a typical cutback goal because that's the speciality for United this season. But I think it'll be 2 or 3-1 to United this weekend. For all that they did to us at Old Trafford, I still think we'll beat them at their home ground. Um, we'll probably do a preview for that game closer to the time. So, guys, just remember to like, share, and subscribe. Look out for that stream. John and I still figuring this out, but yeah, welcome to ZA Football Perspective from Mr. John Morgan. As you can see, we're not the same, guys. We're not the same. So who knows? You might see a couple of rants here and then. Who knows? You might see John lose his mind and say some stuff that doesn't make sense. I've seen it before. I wouldn't be surprised. But you know what, guys? Like, share, subscribe, and yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been ZA Ball. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.